Hello everybody, welcome back to another video where I talk over a game, notably Stardew Valley as per usual. I made this save specifically for these videos, so we're going to keep looking at that. Unless Hunt the Chocolate here were to come out, but I hear that that's going to take at least a couple more years, so probably not anytime soon. Anyway, last week somebody left a comment on my video that they had actually found me originally when I was doing the planner videos, where I bought a bunch of planners from a bunch of different stores to kind of look at them, review them, and talked about other things planner related, like different types of paper, different types of planners in general, like the file effects systems, the ring bounds, all those types of things, happy planner, whatever I could get my hands on. And then later they found that they may be AuDHD, and then they also came back to my videos because I started making videos about AuDHD. So that was interesting to read. And it made me think, like, when I was still actively looking at planner videos, I occasionally still do look at a planner video, but I know that if I do that more often, I'll probably start buying new planners and stuff like that, which I do sometimes, but mostly I'm trying to stay away from that. Anyway, when I was still looking at planner videos regularly, I noticed that quite a few of the people that I watched also mentioned that they had some form of ADHD at some point. Not that they had it at some point, but at some point they mentioned that. And this was before I even suspected that I had autism. But I think pretty quickly after I started getting into planners, I started to suspect that as well. So there's kind of like a discovery process going on. And then near the end, where I kind of moved away from the planner community because I noticed that I was gathering a lot of stuff but not actually getting a lot out of it. I was also wondering if I was AuDHD because I noticed that the whole collecting thing is a very ADHD thing to do, and here I was looking at all these people from the planner community and they also had ADHD, at least a lot of them did, and so I thought that was pretty interesting. And I think it's also to do with the fact that ADHD people who have some form of ADHD, know from themselves, even if they're not super conscious about it, that they're not good at planning, scheduling, and that type of thing. They need some type of help with that. They may notice that there are like plans that are stagnating that they would like to get to work on, and they need a little help. And I think a lot of companies that make planners, whether they are actually purely planner companies or companies like the Action and the HEMA, those stores that tend to also sell planners, they kind of know that people who are into planners are also often into collecting, and they provide a lot of that stuff. Pretty sure they have like whole teams sitting around going, okay, what do we know about these people? They like cute stuff, they like shiny stuff, they like all the little accessories that go with it, because in the planner community there is a lot that can be collected. There's of course the planners themselves, there's different types of planners, you got your weeklies, you got your monthlies, you got your dailies, you got your week on one page, you got your week on 2 pages, you got your vertical columns, you got your horizontal columns, all these different types of brands with their different types of paper. Then you're going to need the stickers, you're going to need the washi tape, you're going to need all the pens, you're going to need the highlighters, the mouth liners, you're going to need the fountain pens, you're going to need the dip pens, you're going to need the glass fountain or / dip pens, you're going to need the ink for that, and not just regular black ink, you need like the special kind. Then of course you need all the different cases where you can put all these things in. And if you're really into it, you want to make your own custom planner, and that'll require some ring bound systems or disc bound systems. And then you want to download and print a whole bunch of planner pages that are to your liking, and that'll also require a certain type of paper. And if you're really deeply into it, then you also get all sorts of gear, like different types of hole punches for all the different types of systems. What are those special devices for making your own books with O-rings, all kinds. And if you are also into specific types of planners, you are going to look probably at the Hobonichis, for instance. That's a very big popular one. And they're notorious for having a whole new collection every year. Then you're probably also going to be watching all the hauls that people post every year where they buy a certain amount of stuff, because if you buy, I think, over $210 worth of items from Hobonichi, you get free shipping or something. And people will buy all the different covers, all the different types of weeklies that they got. They want one of the 5-year ones, obviously, and then they need a cover for that. And you need a page protector, and you need one of those bookmark type things like the ruler ones that they got, and all sorts of trinkets that go in there as well. And I think something that also really draws in, particularly the ADHD types, are those sticker sets that are like specific for an entire year. Like you have a whole theme for an entire year with a whole bunch of like dots or check boxes or things that you can put in there, because we like lists. The thing with, I think, well, at least what I found with myself, is that I'm not really a planner, but I need somewhere to put what I'm supposed to do. So I need my to-do lists, basically. One of the things that I like to do is make to-do lists and then put like nice stickers on there and put some colors around it, some washi tape. And of course, when you check things off, it has to be a certain color pen or a certain color mild liner or one of those dot things. And we somehow think that if we just have the right combination of planner, pens, things, accessories, that's going to be it. And we're going to have all of our problems solved. We're going to be able to do all the things on time, etc., etc. But then we see the next thing and the next thing. And it's kind of like that shiny syndrome thing that's also, I think, known for people with ADHD. Like as soon as something distracts you, then you need all of that as well. You need to start collecting things. If you are, for instance, looking to make a custom birthday card for somebody, you're not just going to get some items to make one card. You're going to go, well, maybe I'll do this again. So I also need this, I also need that, I also need these collections and that thing. And what if I also want to do it like this or with 3D or whatever? And you start collecting all these different things. And I think if World War III were to break out, all the people in the planner community and all the people that like to plan will have enough paper and ink to last at least a decade just in their own house. So we're good where that's concerned. Speaking of paper, one of the things I also noticed is that a lot of people that are also in the planner community and also have ADHD also like collecting notebooks, empty notebooks. I have several boxes of those things, and there's a whole bunch just laying around. I noticed that when I'm particularly stressed, I tend to buy notebooks more often because it gives like a bit of a dopamine hit as well. And there's something about a fresh notebook that just has so much promise and potential in it. And that's also kind of what keeps me from actually using it, because then I'm like, oh my God, if I start writing in it and it sucks, then I've wasted the potential. Like there's something about that going on in my brain, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people will recognize that as well. So I'm wondering how we could actually deal with that. Like we need novelty. And I think to-do lists work best for us. So if you buy like a whole to-do list notepad, then we're only really going to use the first 10 pages maybe. At least that's what I see with myself. And after that, whenever we see a new notepad and a new to-do list, it's like, ooh, this one has flowers, like that type of thing. You need to buy that one. And then you do all your note taking on that for a couple of weeks. And then maybe you're on to the next thing and the next and the next, etc. So it's a little difficult to stick to one system. That's kind of how we work. But the main thing is whatever you do, whether you buy new things all the time, whether you make your own or buy secondhand, because that's also an option, of course. The main thing is that we get the things done that we need to get done and that we feel good about it. So the first thing that we probably need to do is stop feeling bad about not finding the perfect system, because there isn't one. Because our moods and our wants, needs, and desire change about as frequently as we buy a new notebook. So as long as you're not breaking the bank, and you're still able to move around the house without having to like shuffle through a whole bunch of piles, I think we're okay. There is, of course, this whole thing about wanting to be as minimalistic as possible. We don't want to overconsume. So we do need to at least curb our spending somewhat, or curb our gathering of things, I suppose. On the other hand, I don't think I've ever thrown a notebook out that wasn't like super old and worn already. All the ones that I bought recently over the past few years, I still have them and they're still perfectly usable. So it's not like I'm adding to the garbage mountain of notebooks or anything like that. But I also don't need to buy any new ones for the next couple of years. And while saying that, I know perfectly well that I'll probably buy another notebook in the next month. It is what it is. And there is also just an element of fun in trying to figure out a new system, trying to maybe start a bullet journal, trying a different type of to-do list, trying a tracker of some sort, a mood tracker, a weather tracker, whatever it is. Just the little things that just make you happy doing something new. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But yeah, those are just kind of like my observations about that. And maybe one day I will do another video on planners. I mean, I still have a bunch of planners and I still occasionally have ideas about what might work. So I could very well do that, like a comparison with something that I see in a store and something that I might make myself or whatever I feel like. Whatever seems fun to me at the time. So hopefully you'll enjoy that as well. In the meantime, let me know what you think about this topic in the comments below. I want to thank you for watching and hope to see you next time. And bye-bye for now.